Paladins very well may be the most busted and overpowered DPS class in all of Season of Discovery, and especially in this first bracket at level 25 as we move into raids. Just take a look at this clip from SVAN doing DPS in the raid as we first were able to test it. And right there, that hit right there was almost 1,000 damage in one attack. And this is at level 25. This is a ridiculous amount of damage for one class to output. So today I'm going to talk about why they are so overpowered, which of their runes are very strong. I'm also going to go through a little bit of the specs you are going to look at, as well as some of the specs you might look at for Holy and Prot. And then we'll talk a little bit about your BIS gear and gearing really quickly. So from there, guys, if you want to see me cover any of the classes in Season of Discovery, of course, make sure to like and subscribe to the page and let me know what you want me to cover next. I think it's gonna be Rogue, but we'll see. All right, first things first, heading over to 60 upgrades. Ignore the spec right now. We're gonna look at the runes, and the most overpowered one right now initially is gonna be Seal of Martyrdom. Seal of Martyrdom basically just hits all of your targets in front of you, or up to 3 targets in front of you, with 30% of your weapon damage. This can crit, and this is also hitting from every single one of your melee hits, which includes Crusader Strike right now. So if you have a weapon that is, let's say, something like 3.2 speed, but to make it easy, let's say it's 3.3 speed, over 10 seconds, you're hitting 3 times, but you also are hitting another 2.5 times from Crusader Strike. This means every 10 seconds you have 5.5 of these hits going out for 30% weapon damage on 3 targets. This means that Paladin's sustained AoE damage is absolutely insane. It's not going to be your meta actual rune if you're looking for single target DPS. That will probably be Divine Storm, but Divine Storm is usually what you would think of if you're thinking for AoE, right? It hits with 110% of your weapon damage, so it hits harder and it hits up to 4 targets. The only issue is the CD of this is long enough to make it so that Divine Storm is less efficient than the sustained damage of Seal of Martyrdom. So again, Seal of Martyrdom is doing more damage for trash, and then once you move on to bosses, you will switch to Divine Storm. Aegis is for prot paladins, but in reality, prot paladins will probably run Seal of Martyrdom on trash and then Divine Storm on bosses also. So if you're a prot paladin, you're probably running something like that. Horn of Lodoron is something you can use as a holy paladin, but you're probably not even going to be running that because it means you can't use might, or nobody can use might on anybody. Now, Avenger Shield. Currently, Avenger Shield does not have a requirement for you to be holding a shield. And if this is true, this is a giga busted DPS CD for all of the paladins out there. And I think that they have to go in and fix this, because if you can just use Avenger Shield without having a shield on, then you're hitting multiple targets, 3 targets for almost 200 damage each. That's 600 damage, and it is a 30-second CD. It does not interrupt, but this is a lot of damage when your normal melee swings are hitting for 65 to 99. This is a very, very large hit, and especially very large for any AoE situations. But if not, you will then run Exorcist. Exorcist will allow you to use your exorcism ability on any target. This is better for a single target. Actually, Avenger Shield, literally, we were calculating it earlier, might be more DPS for single targets still, but Exorcist is what you will be using for most single targets, especially if they fix this and don't allow you to just kind of have this busted situation. Either way, the meta might still actually be to use Avenger Shield on trash. What you would do is just equip a shield, use Avenger Shield, and then switch over to a two-hander like Virgin's Fist here. The only thing is when you switch weapons in Classic, it does reset your weapon swing. So you'll have to be tracking that anyways. You're a paladin, but at the very end of the weapon swing, after you hit, you would use the switch macro, use Avenger Shield, and then switch back. Now, the last one that is, again, another crazy one, it's like Paladins literally got all of their runes to be OP, is Crusader Strike. This is a 4-second cooldown that hits for 75% of your weapon damage, also procs your seals, including Seal of Martyrdom or Seal of Command, single target. Remember, for a single target, you would switch Divine Storm, and that's why we have Seal of Command here. Well, these are all proccing on Crusader Strike right now, which is on a 4-second CD, and it restores 2% of your mana. So you can literally basically never go and I will roll it back so you can see this entire pull from Esfand, and you can just see the damage output that he's doing. Look at that. That hit was 1,000 damage right there. It is just absolute pumpage, and I don't think in overall damage any of the other classes can even compare. Although mages might have seen some nerfs very recently, hunters are also the other class that are looking like they're going to be the most powerful. It's most likely going to be paladins, mages, and hunters right now if we don't see things being a little bit adjusted. Now, moving past that, let's look at the talents that you will most likely run. The first one is improved Blessing of Might for an extra 20% attack power, but if you don't want to be using this, if you have a Horn of Lordaeron in your group, then you will actually use Benediction. This is better for you probably for these longer fights because you do need that mana from your judgments, and Crusader Strike combined with this will make sure you never go Then you have improved Judgment to reduce the CD of Judgment by 2 seconds, improved Seal of the Crusader, or here you would grab the improved Blessing of Might depending on which seals you are using in Seal Twisting, which apparently is harder to do but still doable. So that is going to be a thing we're definitely going to be seeing. Are you Seal Twisting between Command and Martyrdom or Command and Crusader? Who knows? Conviction then is 5% crit. 5% crit is very, very solid, but this is to melee attacks. It might happen to give you 5% crit for seals. I'm not absolutely sure. I think these are spells though, but this 5% crit is very good. Now, if you're not running something like this in the ret tree, if you're going something like a protection paladin, let me just break it down for you really fast. A protection paladin will most likely actually have to run into the holy tree to grab consecration at this low level. That would mean you would go into divine strength for 10% strength. Then you would go into anything really. It's probably intellect to be realistic, and then you would go into consecration. Then you would go down and either get more armor or get your block chance up. This is what you would run for a holy paladin, meaning you have most likely going to have your Seal of Martyrdom or running Divine Storm. Aegis is technically what the tank rune is, but I don't think most tanks are going to run this. You're probably going to run Divine Storm or Seal of Martyrdom. You have Avenger's Shield here or Divine Sacrifice, but I think Avenger's Shield is too powerful. And then Hand of Reckoning is your actual taunt, and it also changes a ton of things for you, like Righteous Fury gives you 80% more threat gen, so that's just nutty. But if you want to go into the full tank build, you can as well. You would go into probably Toughness down here, and then you will get improved Righteous Fury for even more of that threat. You would then grab Blessing of Kings, and you could do basically whatever you want. Defense skill, shield specialization. You could also even go into the hit, which is probably going to be a stronger choice for you, is to grab hit and make sure that you have it. There's also an argument for ret paladins to make sure that they go down deep enough into this tree to get hit. 3% hit is really solid, and then you would start going into another tree. There's a kind of thought process that you could potentially go with. Let me remove these, give you this. You could go with like potentially 10% strength and then also down here, or you might need to go all the way down to get the improved judgment, because improved judgment is very strong. So you would go here and then maybe go into 2% strength. Now, looking for some gear, some quick gear breakdowns, you are going to be leatherworking to grab the Void Touch leather gloves. You're most likely using Virgin's Fist. Let me hide my face. Virgin's Fist is the quest item that you're going to be rocking. The better item is technically Gizmotron's Mega Chopper, but it is like a ridiculously rare drop. I think technically it just drops in Nomergan, but it could drop elsewhere. But it's just so easy to get Virgin's Fist. Pugilis Bracers, another one that's actually going to be relatively easy for you to get. You'll just farm it in Razorfen Crawl. If you can't get this in BFD, this is what we're seeing as one of the drops from one of the early bosses, but you might even also go and find any of these other items. Now, this chest piece is what you are going to run from blacksmiths. It is BOE. You're not running Shifting Silver Breastplate unless you are a tank. You can only run one of the void touched items at a time, and the gloves are stronger. Thunderbrow Ring is just an easy one to grab, and you also have Silverlane's Family Seal. This is from Shadowfang Keep. Trip Runner, if they are out, but if they are not, you are going to get Chassis of Westfall from, if you're Alliance, sorry, from the quest in Deadmines. Then you have Cobran's Grasp. This is a belt from Wailing Caverns. And for your shoulders, you have BOE shoulders. There's a few options here, but it's actually probably even going to be these ones, elite shoulders, but it's just, these are going to be from like a vendor. You could literally grab these from a vendor. You might even grab Mantle of Thieves, but to be honest, I would not. It's going to be pretty expensive for you. You don't want to do that. This cloak is from BFD, so you might not grab that right away. I would go for something like Cape of the Brotherhood as your early cloak. It is just very solid, so grab Cape of the Brotherhood, ignore that, probably grab this. And then this necklace is also from the raid, so don't worry about that. This is gonna be a quick breakdown of everything, but because of all of this, because of mainly Divine Storm and Seal of Martyrdom and how they work with Crusader Strike, Paladins just seem like they are going to be the most powerful class essentially in the game right now. Like right away, Paladins are going to be probably the strongest class, other than maybe a glass cannon build for mages if they don't have to deal with mana issues, including some of the nerfs that might have come out recently. Then it's Paladins, Hunters, and Mages at the top. Warlocks are looking very juicy as well, but this is a quick breakdown. And again, guys, if you like this, or if you want me to do any other classes, one more time and think it's going to be Rogue next, then make sure to like and subscribe to the page, and let me know in the comments if there's any other classes or anything I missed. Realistically, I tried to do this one very quickly just to give you all a good breakdown as we watch Svan get knocked around left and right. Okay guys, I'll see you all on the next one.